Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Motorman Dan, and we're just going to pop in real quick to do a couple of test scenarios about damage and how damage is calculated within the game. There's a question on Reddit and a question on my YouTube channel, so I figured we'll go ahead and showcase how damage is calculated in the game, and we'll start by playing on Endless, because Endless gives you those calculations. And we need to play on Great Room, and we need to do a couple of things here. So first off, we need our weapon to be crossbow. Enemies stunned by secondary take increased damage. We need Ice Amulet, increased freeze duration, Stone Step. That's fine. We could actually do hand Gatling. That wouldn't be too bad. Maybe. We'll try to use hand Gatling with the acid, but we're probably going to use acid geyser as well. We can use increased melting duration. And then we need gravity pillar to not do damage. And lastly, we need wall blades to increase damage to stun enemies. Did I do the crossbow? Yeah, okay. Alright, and we're going to go into Great Room here. Now, this first one is kind of how damage is calculated overall as far as status effects are concerned. So we're going to have a handful of status effects here. We're going to have crossbow, stone, ice, acid. These all buff. Well, the crossbow buffs all the damage, and then the other three buff physical damage. Since the crossbow's stun, wall blades will have double damage on top of being lifted, which is also double damage. So we're going to have 15, 30, 30, 50 times 2 times 2. The wall blades do by default 130 damage. So we're going to need to pop all 4 of these things as soon as he goes underneath this. All right? And we're going to... Oh, yeah, we need the wind belt. Right. And probably the rift. All right. The reason we got to play in Endless is because Endless actually gives us the numbers that we're looking for. If you're playing story mode, the post-game stats are not going to tell you what exactly happened. And we can grab Light Orc, I think. Yeah, I should be able to. Oh, dang it. He took damage.
Enemies at the rift. They're entering the rift.
All right. Get ready for it. So we have to get quite a few things off on him. Boom. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I believe. All right. Let's sell and let's see how much damage we did.
It's time to begin. More enemies on the way. Enemies are attacking.
Yeah, because the damage and the debuff 7. Okay. I think that worked. I think we'll see the number we're looking for. Alright, we'll take a look at our stats here. There you go. 1525. 1525. Now, I went ahead and posted this as the answer as to why it is 1525. It's actually like 1516. But he was being lifted up when I hit him with the Gatling gun, which would do double damage, and so that's kind of where the rest of it comes in. But basically, here's what we have. So you have the 130, and it multiplies it by the 1.15 for the crossbow. Which I did not mention there. I thought I did. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay. So for the crossbows, 15%. And then you have the 1.3, which is either petrification or ice. 1.3 for the other one. 1.5 for the acid. And then you have a ×2 for the increased damage to stun enemies, and another ×2 for the gravity pillar lift for launched damage. So that's how the game calculates damage. It takes the lowest of whatever's applicable whenever damage is dealt. It takes whatever lowest percentage it is, and then it starts increasing it by up to the highest percentage, which is going to be ×2. So that's how the damage is calculated. That's the test to show you. Now we're gonna look at the second question, which is if a giant gets frozen stoned and the flip trap nudges it, do they take double damage? Which we know that with this first question, if they get flipped and then frozen or stoned, do they still take bonus damage from all things combined? And the answer is yes. Now the next question is, because their animation doesn't change whenever they get flipped, when they get flipped, if they're petrified or if they're frozen, do they actually take the bonus damage? And this is a really easy thing to test. So let's go ahead and jump into that and do that rule. All right, we're going to bring the armored ogre. We're going to let him charge at us. Oh, my goof nugget forgot the flip trap. The best trap. Now he's an armored ogre, so he's going to take half damage from the crossbow. That's totally fine. But we're going to place a flip trap. Once we separate him from the group, place a flip trap, petrify him, and shoot him with the crossbow. But we have to first figure out how much damage do we do with a petrified ogre and a crossbow. And that's really the main question. So, one hit. We'll see how much damage that does. Alright, so here we see that somehow we have some healing done. We did 10 damage with the crossbow after the petrification. So, now we're going to check it. We're going to petrify and flip. Petrify first, then flip. And we'll see how much damage that does. Okay. We did the flip. We did the auto attack. Let's see how much damage that did. And we see 19. Well, we see 19 because of rounding. Here's why. Because when you have 14 damage, and whether you divide it by 2 first or later doesn't matter, you get 7, right? Because they have 50% damage reduction. And then you multiply that by 1.3, which is the petrification. You then have to multiply that by 2 for the getting flipped. And that gives you 18.2. They always round up. So the initial 10 damage was actually 9.1 damage. So it was, and then the 18.2 is actually 19 because they round up. So that's why you see the 19 damage. But that means that they add together, because if all it was just the flip, then you would only see 14 damage. It would take, yeah, you just see 14 damage. Now, he took a little bit more than that because he did take an additional 10 damage, which is why his health bar showed up to take so much, because of the flip traps inherent 10 damage that it has, but that's not calculated within this. Damage dealt from traps and damage dealt, because that's the same. So if that was calculated, that would be different. And we expected to see 19. Well, technically, we would say, based upon this, we would expect to see 20, but because of how the math works in the game, we're actually expecting to see 19, and that's what we saw. So that is how resistances are taken into effect, and that is how the game calculates the percentages, right? As far as lowest to highest, and then you take the first one, and then you go the next highest and the next highest. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, as always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I stream on Twitch and upload to YouTube. I figured we would talk about it because we have kind of covered it in the past, but I couldn't really find the video about it. So this is going to be a dedicated video talking about the damage calculations that the game has and the status effects that you can kind of add together to really increase the damage potency of what you have. So, yeah. And leave a like if you learned something. All right. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Deuces.